Hey guys, tonight we're going to dive into the world of the Aztec Empire, a society of stunning complexity, brutal power, and an unshakable belief system that demanded the ultimate price. We're not just talking about the famous male warriors, though. We're going to be looking at things from a perspective you probably haven't considered before, yours. You were born into this world, a world where your very purpose was, in a way, predetermined. So, you probably won't survive this, but you might just understand it. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Let me know where you're listening from and what time it is for you. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You don't have a name yet, not a proper one anyway. For now, you are simply she who is chosen. The moment you were born, the priests of Tenochtitlan, the great city built on a lake, had already marked you. They saw it in the stars, they said. They saw it in the way the omens fell. You were a girl, yes, but you were more than that. You were a vessel, a conduit. And your purpose was to die. You don't remember this, of course. Your birth was a swirl of hot water, the scent of copal incense, and the urgent whispers of your mother and the midwife. But the destiny that was woven into your very being was already a quiet, unspoken reality in the household. Your family, far from being saddened, felt a sort of reverent pride. This was not a curse. No, no. This was a blessing of the highest order. Your father, a skilled artisan who carved jade, would boast about you at the marketplace, not with a heavy heart, but with a proud chest. My daughter, he would say, his voice thick with a strange mixture of joy and resignation, she will go to the gods. The other men would nod, their eyes full of respect. To be chosen was to be special. It meant your family had been blessed with a favor, a signal that they were in the good graces of the deities. It was a bizarre kind of lottery win, isn't it? The jackpot is that you get to die for everyone else. You spend your earliest years in a world of paradox. Your days are filled with the gentle, rhythmic sounds of your mother grinding maize on a metate, the chatter of the other children in the sun-drenched courtyard, and the sweet scent of flowers from the floating gardens, the chinampas, that surround your home. You are taught to be a good daughter, to fetch water from the well, to help with the weaving, to be respectful and obedient. You are treated with a tenderness that is both nurturing and almost sacred. They don't scold you like they might the other children. They don't want to anger the gods who have already laid claim to you. It's like you're a guest in your own home, a visitor they are lavishing with attention before you leave forever. As you grow, your body begins to change, to soften, to round out in the ways of a young woman. The way your mother looks at you becomes different. There's still love, of course, but there's a new kind of respect mixed with it, an almost fearful reverence. She begins to instruct you in things the other girls aren't taught, little secrets about the body, about fertility, about the power of a woman's touch. These are lessons not of lust or desire, but of sacred purpose. You are learning to become a vessel of life, even as you prepare to become a vessel of death. It's a peculiar kind of intimacy, one where the physical act is divorced from pleasure and recontextualized as a cosmic duty. She teaches you to understand the rhythms of your own body, not for your own satisfaction, but to be a more complete, and therefore more worthy, offering. Historians still argue whether this early indoctrination was a form of psychological conditioning or a genuine spiritual belief passed down through generations. The elders and priests also begin to take a special interest in you. They see the promise in your eyes, the grace in your movements. A quirky little detail you notice is that they always seem to bring you a small gift, a polished obsidian mirror, a string of clay beads, a tiny feathered bird charm. It's like they're trying to bribe you into your own destiny. You can almost hear them thinking, Here, have a little something pretty before we, use you for a human sacrifice. Your training becomes more rigorous as you approach your teenage years. You learn the intricate dances for the festivals, the precise way to prepare the ceremonial foods, and the long, poetic chants meant to honor the gods. You are taught to carry yourself with a regal dignity, to walk with your head held high, to never show fear. A part of you, a very small, very human part, wants to rebel, to run away, to hide in the sprawling market and become just another girl selling fruit. But the conditioning is deep. It's in the air you breathe, the water you drink. Everyone around you, from your family to the priests, reinforces the idea that this is the greatest honor imaginable. To be chosen. To give your life for the sun to rise again, for the maize to grow, for the rains to fall. It is a powerful, almost intoxicating narrative, and you are its star. The first hint of the strange, carnal nature of your destiny comes during one of your lessons with an elderly priestess. She explains the concept of divine union. She tells you that your body is a garden, and the gods are the rain and sun. To truly honor them, you must understand the full spectrum of your existence as a woman. This isn't just about ritual death. It's about life, about fertility, and about the deep, almost unspoken bond between a woman's body and the cosmos. She talks about the ancient stories, the myths of goddesses who gave themselves fully to the divine, not in a spiritual way, but in a physical one. There are whispers of these unions being a part of the pre-ritual preparation, a way to make the offering even more potent. This mainstream historical fact is often sanitized in modern accounts, but the Aztecs were explicit about the role of physical purity and fertility in their sacrificial rites. To be a perfect sacrifice, you had to be a perfect woman, and that meant being intimately connected to the cycle of life itself, even if it was for a short time. You're a teenager now, and your body is in full bloom. You're seen as a perfect, unblemished offering. The attention you receive now is different, less reverent and more expectant. The older men look at you with a kind of possessive pride, and the younger men with a mix of awe and a strange, almost forbidden desire. They all know your destiny, and it makes you both unattainable and strangely, tragically, desirable. It's a surreal feeling, isn't it? To be seen as the most beautiful girl in the city, but only because you are the most beautiful girl to die. It's a lonely kind of popularity. The whispers around you grow from a soft hum to a low, constant buzz. You've outgrown the simple tunics of your childhood and now wear finely woven cotton dresses, often embroidered with symbols of the gods you are destined to meet. Your hair, once left unbound, is now meticulously braided with ribbons and tiny, fragrant flowers. You're no longer just your father's daughter, you're the city's darling. The priests of the great temple, the Templo Mayor, have taken notice. You are, in their eyes, a flawless offering, a prized commodity. You remember one day, walking through the bustling marketplace of Tlatelolco with your mother. It was a kaleidoscope of sights and sounds. The smell of roasting turkey and chilies filled the air, mingling with the earthy scent of wet clay and fresh flowers. There were vendors selling everything from brilliant feathered cloaks to shimmering obsidian blades that, a chill reminds you, would one day be used for their sacred purpose. A wealthy merchant, a man with a heavy cotton cape and a proud, stern face, stopped you. He didn't speak to you directly, of course. That would be improper. He spoke to your mother. She is a beautiful girl, he said, his eyes appraising you like a piece of jade. A fine sacrifice. Your family is blessed. Your mother smiled, a strange, tight little smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. She thanked him, but you felt a deep, uncomfortable coldness at his words. It was like being on display, like a piece of art being judged not for its beauty alone, but for its value as an offering. This is the strange reality you inhabit. You are elevated, almost pampered, but your value is directly tied to your impending death. The gifts become more elaborate now. Your father, with the help of a special fund from the priests, commissions a jade necklace for you, each bead carved with a symbol of a different deity. You receive beautiful, scented cloaks and special foods, not just the simple maize and beans of your childhood, but rich turkey stews, tamales filled with herbs and spices, and frothy cups of hot chocolate, a luxury reserved for the nobility and the truly special. It's a gilded cage, isn't it? You are given everything, but everything is a reminder of what you are giving up. You begin to understand the deeper, more complex roles of women in this society. While men go to war or become priests, women have their own power. They are the keepers of the home, the weavers of cloth that holds deep symbolic meaning, and the preparers of sacred foods. And for some women, like you, the power is even more profound. You are a living bridge between the mortal and the divine. You are told that by accepting your fate with grace and dignity, you are not a victim, but a powerful intercessor. Your life will be an inspiration, and your death will be a salvation for the entire community. It's a very clever way of framing a truly terrible reality, isn't it? It makes you feel like a hero, even as you're being led to the slaughter. Your body is not just yours anymore. It's a public trust. The priests and elders inspect you regularly, not in a lecherous way, but with a clinical detachment. They look for blemishes, for signs of sickness, for any imperfection that might sully the offering. A tiny scar on your knee from falling as a child, a spot of acne, a chipped tooth, any of these could render you an unsuitable offering. The pressure is immense. You have to be perfect, physically and spiritually. And this is where the romance, the physical intimacy, takes a bizarre and almost chilling turn. You are taught how to be physically appealing, how to carry yourself in a way that is both seductive and utterly chaste. It's about being a perfect representation of feminine vitality, not for a human lover, but for the gods themselves. A quirky detail that you learn during these lessons is about the use of flowers. The Aztecs used flowers for everything, for decoration, for medicine, and for profound spiritual purposes. You are taught the symbolic meaning of different blossoms. The marigold, for example, is associated with the sun god, and you learn how to weave them into your hair in a specific pattern to honor him. The plumeria, with its delicate, intoxicating scent, is a symbol of fertility and new life. You're told that by wearing these flowers, you are not just beautifying yourself, but you are broadcasting a message to the gods: I am ready. I am ripe. It's a subtle but powerful form of non-verbal communication, and it's all about making you the most desirable sacrifice possible. There is a mainstream historical fact that adds another layer to this. Human sacrifice was not just a one-time event, it was a constant, ongoing part of Aztec life. The Aztecs believed that the gods had sacrificed themselves to create the world, and that to keep the world going, humanity had to pay them back in a cosmic debt of blood. You, as a beautiful and perfect maiden, were seen as a repayment of this debt in its highest form. You weren't just dying for the crops to grow, you were dying to keep the entire universe from collapsing. It's a heavy burden for a teenage girl, isn't it? You're a cosmic debt collector, but the debt is your own life. The concept of a maiden in this culture is so different from our own. A maiden is not just an unmarried girl. She is a woman on the cusp of her full power, a woman whose body is in its prime, its most fertile state. And for the Aztecs, fertility was not just about having babies. It was about the fertility of the land, the fertility of the ideas, the fertility of the entire cosmos. A maiden's body was a symbolic representation of this immense, creative power. Your body, therefore, is not a source of shame or vulnerability. It is a source of power. You are taught to be proud of your curves, of your strength, of your very existence as a woman, because all of it makes you a more worthy gift. Historians still argue whether the Aztecs' reverence for female fertility and their use of it in sacrifice were contradictory or two sides of the same coin. Was it a form of exploitation, or was it the ultimate expression of a woman's power, a way for her to contribute to the greater good in a way no man could? The answer, like so much of this story, is probably somewhere in the middle, a confusing and deeply unsettling mix of both. You are a symbol of life, and you are destined for death. You are the embodiment of creation, and your fate is to be a part of a violent, sacred destruction. You begin to notice the other girls, the ones who aren't chosen. They look at you with a mix of envy and pity. They see the beautiful clothes, the special food, the attention from the priests. But they also see the fear, the knowledge that you are living on borrowed time. They are jealous of your temporary glory, and you are, well, you're not jealous of their ordinary lives. You're too indoctrinated for that. You just see them as the lucky ones, the ones who get to grow old, to have children, to live a life. But you are a goddess in training, and goddesses don't get to live ordinary lives. The gilded cage tightens its hold on you. Your childhood is officially over, replaced by rigorous and unyielding education designed to make you the perfect offering. You are no longer seen as a child but as a fledgling goddess, a human vessel preparing to receive the divine. Your days are no longer spent in simple chores but in the ceremonial halls of the Karmakak, the school for the noble children, now repurposed for your specific training. You are sequestered, kept apart from the other girls, and your companions are now the stern, unsmiling priestesses who guide your every move. Your education is a strange and beautiful contradiction. On one hand, you are taught the history and myths of the gods in intricate detail. You learn the epic tales of Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent, and Huitzilopochtli, the god of the sun and war. You are taught the complex Aztec calendar, the 260-day tonal Pohuali and the 365-day Zupohuali, and how they intertwine to govern all aspects of life, from planting crops to predicting your own death day. It's like learning a whole new language, one of stars and symbols, and every word is a reminder of your purpose. On the other hand, you are taught the arts of a lady of the highest standing, but with a unique spiritual twist. You learn to weave not just simple cloth, but intricate tapestries that tell sacred stories. The threads are dyed with pigments made from crushed cochineal insects and indigo, and you are taught that each color has a meaning, each pattern a prayer. You are trained to prepare ceremonial meals, not just by cooking, but by infusing each dish with intention and devotion. You are taught the subtle art of perfuming yourself with crushed herbs and flowers, not for vanity, but to make your body a more pleasing and fragrant offering to the gods. It's all about turning the mundane acts of daily life into a continuous, flowing prayer. The priestesses are your teachers, and they are both gentle and relentless. They have seen many girls like you come and go, and they treat you with a calm, practiced solemnity. They call you Little Butterfly, a common nickname for young women, but in your case, it takes on a deeper, sadder meaning. You are a creature of fleeting beauty, destined for a short and spectacular flight before your final transformation. They teach you to sing the sacred hymns, your young voice joining theirs in a haunting, melodic chorus that echoes through the cool stone halls. These are not just songs, they are incantations, spells meant to bridge the gap between your world and the next. A quirky tidbit you learn from one of the older priestesses is about the use of pulque, a fermented agave drink. It was a common drink for the poor, but for those in your position, it was used ritually. The priestesses would sometimes give you a small amount during certain ceremonies, not to get you drunk, but to induce a state of reverie. The pulque, they explained, would soften the veil between your spirit and the divine, making it easier for the gods to see you, to hear your prayers, and to accept your ultimate gift. It's like they're giving you a tiny taste of what's to come, a little peek behind the curtain before the grand finale. You learn to dance, but not in the way of the other girls. Your dances are slow, deliberate, and deeply symbolic. They are meant to mimic the movements of the cosmos, the circling of the sun, the gentle swaying of the maize stalks, the flight of the eagle. Your body becomes a tool, an instrument of worship. You are taught to hold your head high, your back straight, to move with a grace that is both powerful and vulnerable. You are told that by moving like this, you are not just dancing, you are communing with the very fabric of the universe. This brings up a mainstream historical fact about the Aztec conception of the body. For them, the physical and the spiritual were not separate. Your body was not just a container for your soul, it was an active participant in your spiritual life. The blood that flowed through your veins, the breath in your lungs, the very heat of your skin, all of it was a sacred substance. To offer your body in sacrifice, therefore, was not to destroy it, but to release its sacred energy back to the cosmos, where it would do the most good. Your death was not an end, it was a cosmic discharge, a repayment of the great debt of creation. The training also involves a kind of psychological and emotional conditioning. You are taught to suppress all fear, to see your fate not as a tragedy, but as a triumph. The priestesses use parables and stories, telling you about the great heroes of the past who gave their lives for the people. They tell you that you will join them, that you will live forever in the company of the gods, that your family will be blessed for generations because of your bravery. It's a very effective form of mental preparation. By the time the day comes, you will not be a cowering victim but a willing participant, a true hero. Historians still argue whether this was a genuine belief system or a cruel but necessary tool for social control. Was it a beautiful spiritual narrative or a narrative of convenience? As you approach your final year of training, the tone becomes even more serious. The lessons on fertility and physical intimacy become more explicit, though always framed within a ritualistic context. You are taught about the different plants and herbs that can be used to promote fertility, and you are shown how to use them in ceremonial baths. You are taught how to perform certain dances and movements that are meant to mimic the rhythms of life and creation. These aren't lessons in desire, but in the power of your body as a symbol of life itself. A part of you, a deeply buried, rebellious part, wonders about what it would be like to experience these things for pleasure, for love, for a life of your own. But that thought is quickly pushed away. There's no room for such selfish desires here. The priestesses are not unkind, but they are focused. They see you as a project, a masterpiece in the making. And the masterpiece's final, glorious moment is to be your own death. It's a strange thing, isn't it? To be groomed for an entire lifetime to be the perfect gift, the perfect offering. You are taught to be beautiful, to be smart, to be graceful, to be everything a woman can be, also that you can give it all away. You are the perfect student in the most terrible of schools, and your graduation day is the day you will cease to exist in this world. The day finally arrives for your departure from the Karmakak. It's not a grand ceremony, but a quiet, solemn procession. You are no longer she who is chosen, but a living symbol, a representative of the community's most sacred bond with the gods. Your destination is Tenochtitlan, the great capital city, a place you've only seen from a distance, a shimmering metropolis of stone and water. The city rises from Lake Texcoco like a jewel, its pyramids and palaces gleaming under the bright, unforgiving sun. You are escorted by a small group of priests and warriors, their faces painted with ochre and black, their demeanor a mix of reverence and fierce protectiveness. As you approach the great causeway leading into the city, the air changes. It becomes thick with the smells of the city, copal incense from 1,000 temples, the sharp scent of chilies and corn, and a faint, coppery smell that you instinctively know is the smell of blood. You try to push the thought away, to focus on the beauty of the city, the vibrant colors of the market, the intricate carvings on the great temple. But the scent lingers, a constant, subtle reminder of your purpose. Your journey is a kind of public spectacle, but a subdued one. People line the causeway, not to cheer, but to watch in silent awe. They throw flowers at your feet, marigolds, plumeria, all the symbolic blossoms you've learned to recognize. Their faces are a mix of reverence and a deep, almost tangible gratitude. They believe you are saving them, and in their eyes, you can see the weight of their collective hope. It's an intoxicating feeling, isn't it? To be the one everyone is looking to, the one who holds their fate in her hands. A mainstream historical fact you learn on this journey is about the great temple itself, the Templo Maya. It was actually two temples on one pyramid, a dual shrine to Huitzilopochtli, the god of war and the sun, and Tlaloc, the god of rain and fertility. The two sides of the temple represented the two fundamental forces of the Aztec cosmos, fire and water, war and agriculture. You are told that by sacrificing you are not just honoring one god, but the entire, interconnected system. You are the bridge between the two, a perfect offering of life to both the destructive and the creative forces of the universe. It's a very neat bit of theology, a way of justifying a very messy reality. Upon your arrival at the temple complex, you are led to a small, secluded courtyard, a sanctuary reserved for those of your status. The air here is calmer, the sounds of the city muffled by the high stone walls. A group of priestesses awaits you, their demeanor more severe than the ones you knew at the Karmakak. They greet you with a strange ritual. They present you with a small, live serpent, a non-venomous kind, and you are instructed to hold it against your chest. The serpent is a symbol of Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent god, but also of feminine power and rebirth. It's a physical, visceral reminder of the duality of your role, a life-giving force about to be sacrificed. A quirky detail about this ritual is the meaning of the serpent's embrace. The priestesses explain that the serpent is Tetiowinan's tears, Tetiowinan being an ancient mother goddess. By holding the serpent, you are accepting her sorrow and her power, preparing to become a mother of a new cosmic cycle. It's a moment of profound, quiet intimacy, just you and the creature, a small part of a vast, unyielding universe. The cold, smooth scales against your skin are a strange comfort, a confirmation that you are truly a part of something ancient and powerful. This is where your education takes a more direct and chilling turn. The priestesses, in their solemn, rhythmic chants, begin to prepare you for the final rites. They bathe you in special herbal water, perfume your skin with sacred resins, and dress you in a pristine white cotton robe, your hair unbound and decorated with feathers and flowers. Your body is now a living shrine, and every touch is a prayer. It's a very strange kind of physical intimacy, one where you are being readied not for a lover, but for a god. Every part of you, from the tips of your toes to the strands of your hair, is being sanctified. Historians still argue whether the Aztec priests genuinely believed in the divinity of the sacrifice victim, or if it was simply a necessary psychological tool to make the process more palatable for everyone involved. Were you, for a brief time, truly a goddess walking among men, or were you a beautifully dressed and well-trained victim? The truth, of course, is that in a world where belief is everything, the distinction is almost meaningless. You are what they need you to be, and for now, that is a living goddess, a human conduit to the divine. You are also introduced to the other sacrifices, a handful of other young men and women from various parts of the empire, all chosen for their own specific virtues. Some are warriors captured in battle, their fierce pride still visible in their eyes. Others, like you, are from noble families, chosen for their purity and their beauty. There is a strange, quiet camaraderie among you. You are all in the same boat, all destined for the same end. You don't talk about what's to come, but you don't have to. A single look, a shared silence, is enough. You are all part of a very exclusive and very terrifying club. And the membership fee is steep. The days leading up to the great festival of Tlacaxapahualistli, the flaying of men, are a strange mix of serene contemplation and feverish activity. This is the main event, the grand stage for which you have been preparing your entire life. The priests and priestesses are in a constant state of prayer and ritual, their chants echoing from the temple and drifting on the wind, a somber lullaby for the city. You, and the others like you, are at the center of it all, the quiet eye of a spiritual hurricane. The festival itself is a massive, city-wide affair. The air is thick with the scent of copal incense, the rhythmic beating of drums, and the sounds of thousands of people moving through the streets. You are kept in a secluded part of the temple complex, your own personal sanctuary away from the chaos. Here, the priestesses continue to prepare you. They paint your body with sacred patterns, not with the simple paints of the warriors, but with delicate, meaningful symbols, a small sun on your chest, a tiny serpent coiling around your arm, a mace stalk on your leg. Each stroke of the brush is a prayer, a blessing, a final act of devotion. You are also given a special outfit. Not a simple white robe anymore, but a magnificent costume made of the finest cotton and adorned with intricate embroidery and precious feathers. It's a work of art, a suit of divine armor for your final journey. It is a mainstream historical fact that the Aztecs often dressed their sacrificial victims in the attire of the very gods they were being offered to. You are not just a woman anymore, you are a living, breathing representation of a goddess. You are adorned with jewels, turquoise and jade, and a magnificent feathered headdress that makes you feel both incredibly tall and strangely weightless. It's an intoxicating feeling, isn't it? To be so beautiful, so revered, and to know that all this finery is just a prologue to your final, violent act. A quirky detail you notice during your preparations is the use of chocolate. You are given copious amounts of a special, rich chocolate drink, infused with chilies and spices. It's not just for nourishment, but for its ritualistic properties. The chocolate, with its powerful, stimulating effect, is meant to awaken your senses, to sharpen your focus, to make your experience of the divine as vivid as possible. It's like they're giving you a jolt of pure energy to carry you through the final moments, a divine caffeine boost before you meet your maker. It makes you feel strangely invincible, a buzzing, humming vessel of pure, concentrated purpose. The name of the festival, Tlacaxapahualistli, means the flaying of men. It is a tribute to Totec, the flayed one, a fertility god who was said to have flayed himself to give food to humanity. The sacrifice of men in this festival is a gruesome, but deeply symbolic act of renewal. The men, often captured warriors, are flayed after their hearts are removed, and the priests wear their skins for 20 days, representing the shedding of old skin and the promise of new life. But you are a woman. Your sacrifice will be different. You are a representation of fertility, not a warrior. Your death is not about the brutal shedding of skin, but about the sacred spilling of blood, the ultimate payment to the earth to make it fertile and green again. This brings up an interesting debate among historians. While many accounts of Aztec sacrifice focus on the flaying and the heart extraction, historians still argue whether female sacrifices, especially those of noble birth, were always handled in the same way as the male warriors. There is some evidence to suggest that women were sometimes drowned, or their hearts removed in a less public, more ritualized setting. The purpose was the same, to feed the gods, but the method may have been different, reflecting the distinct roles of men and women in the Aztec cosmos. You feel a strange kind of comfort in this thought, a fleeting hope that your end will be quick, clean, and not quite so messy. As the day of the main ritual draws closer, you are moved to a special chamber at the base of the Templo Mayor. It's a small, quiet room, decorated with flowers and fragrant herbs. It's a place of peace, a quiet space to contemplate your purpose. It's here that the priestesses begin to speak to you about the true meaning of your sacrifice. They tell you that you are not just giving your life, but you are becoming one with the earth, one with the rain, one with the sun. They tell you that your blood will not be spilled in vain, but will be a sacred seed, a gift to the gods that will ensure the continued existence of the world. It's a very powerful and, in its own way, beautiful narrative. It's designed to replace your fear with a sense of immense purpose, your sadness with a feeling of profound honor. And it works. You feel a calm settling over you, a sense of peace. You are not a victim anymore. You are a goddess. You are a hero. The grand festival of Tlacaxapahualistli is a long, drawn-out affair, a slow burn of ritual and celebration that lasts for days. But for you and the other chosen few, the experience is a deeply personal and strangely intimate one. You are not yet a sacrifice, not in the final sense. For a brief, intoxicating period, you are an honored guest, a living god among mortals. You are a concubine of the gods, a vessel of their divine will, and your every need is catered to with a reverence that borders on obsession. Your small, quiet chamber is no longer a place of solemn preparation but a place of lavish comfort. Servants, dressed in fine cotton robes, attend to your every whim. They bring you platters of fresh fruit, bowls of steaming tamales, and cups of frothy, spiced hot chocolate. They bathe you in fragrant water and anoint your skin with oils made from precious flowers. You are no longer she who is chosen. You are a living goddess, and you are treated as such. It's a very strange kind of luxury, isn't it? To be pampered so thoroughly, to be treated with such respect, when you know it's all just a way of preparing you for the end. During this time, you have the opportunity to interact with the high priests and priestesses, the most powerful and revered figures in the Aztec world. They sit with you and speak to you not as a child, but as an equal, a future comrade in the divine realm. They tell you stories of the gods, not the sanitized versions you learned in school, but the raw, visceral tales of creation and destruction, of love and betrayal. A quirky tidbit you learn from one of the older priests is about the god of music and dance, Macuilxochitl. He tells you that this god, too, was a lover of human company, and that your own sacrifice, your final dance, is a tribute to him. It's a way of making your end feel more like a beautiful performance than a brutal act. This brings us to a part of Aztec culture that is often overlooked in popular accounts, the complex and nuanced understanding of romance, physical intimacy, and rare types of interaction. For the Aztecs, these things were not just about pleasure. They were about power, about spirituality, about the creation and continuation of life. In your role as a concubine of the gods, this takes on a chilling new meaning. You are not a concubine in the modern sense, a lover to a human man. You are a concubine of the divine. You are taught that your body, in its full, fertile glory, is a sacred vessel, a source of power that must be offered to the gods in its most potent form. This is why you are chosen at the peak of your youth and fertility. Your sacrifice isn't just about blood. It's about life. Historians still argue whether the physical interactions that took place in this pre-sacrificial period were symbolic or literal. There are some accounts of ritualistic, intimate acts designed to make the offering even more powerful, a form of sacred union between the mortal and the divine. The purpose was not human pleasure, but cosmic renewal. You, as the chosen vessel, were the conduit for this divine exchange. It's a concept that is difficult for us to grasp today, a blurring of the lines between the sacred and the profane, between sex and sacrifice. But for the Aztecs, it was all part of the same, interconnected system. A mainstream historical fact that supports this is the Aztec belief in Tonali and Teolia, the two main souls of a person. The Tonali was located in the head and was associated with destiny and life force, while the Teolia was in the heart and was the seat of emotion and thought. When you were sacrificed, your Teolia was released to the gods, a profound and intimate gift. Your physical body, your fertility, your very essence as a woman, was a gift to the earth. Your sacrifice was a gift of both body and soul, a total and complete offering. The other concubines, both male and female, are a diverse group. There are the captured warriors, their bodies scarred and strong, their faces painted with the symbols of their gods. There are the other chosen virgins, young women like you, their eyes filled with a mixture of fear and devotion. And there are the rare and unusual types, the albino boy, whose pale skin and hair were seen as a sign of divine favor, the girl with 2 thumbs on one hand, a mark of a special destiny, the person with a very different type of physical identity, whose body was a puzzle to the priests, but was considered a gift of great interest to the gods. You are all captives of your own destiny, all waiting for your final act. You share a silent, unspoken bond, a camaraderie born of shared fear and shared honor. You are the chosen few, the honored captives, and your days are a slow, beautiful march toward your final, glorious purpose. You are living in a gilded cage. Your days are a seamless blend of ritual, indulgence, and quiet dread. The temple complex is your world now, and it is a world of incredible luxury. This is the life of a concubine, a living goddess, a life you were born for and a debt you are born to repay. The priests and priestesses treat you with a deference that is both comforting and deeply unsettling. You have everything you could possibly want, the finest foods, the most beautiful clothes, the most fragrant flowers. And all of it is a reminder of the one thing you don't have, freedom. Your days are structured, but not in a punishing way. You spend your mornings in a state of quiet contemplation, meditating on the stories of the gods and the meaning of your sacrifice. A mainstream historical fact you are reminded of often is the Aztec belief in a cyclical universe. The sun, they believe, has died and been reborn many times, and it is only through the continued sacrifice of human hearts and blood that it is able to rise again. Your sacrifice isn't just a single event, it's a way of keeping the cosmic engine running. You are a human battery for the sun, a beautiful, tragic, and absolutely necessary part of the universe. The afternoons are filled with the more personal, intimate rituals. You are bathed and perfumed, your skin anointed with oils and your hair braided with flowers. This is not about hygiene, it's about making you a more perfect, more pleasing offering. A quirky detail you learn from one of the priestesses is about the use of crocodile dung as a kind of cosmetic. It was mixed with a special resin and used to make a paste that was believed to make the skin more luminous and smooth. It's a strange thought, isn't it? That in a culture so obsessed with beauty, they would use something so unappealing to achieve it. It reminds you of how different their world is, how their values and their aesthetics are so far removed from anything you know. Remember that crocodile dung sunscreen? This is like the Aztec version of a high-end spa treatment. The concept of a debt to pay is a constant, humming undercurrent in your life. You are not a victim, you are a willing participant in a cosmic exchange. Your life is the payment, and the god's favor is the reward. You are taught that your sacrifice will not only ensure the sun rises again, but it will also bring great fortune and favor to your family. Your father's jade carvings will be more sought after, your mother's weavings more beautiful, and your family's name will be remembered for generations. It's a very clever way of incentivizing the ultimate sacrifice, isn't it? To make the personal tragedy of your death into a public triumph for your family. During these final days, the priests and priestesses speak to you about a very rare and intimate form of interaction. It's not about human pleasure or desire, but about a spiritual union. They tell you that your body is a vessel for the divine, and that by preparing it so meticulously, you are making yourself ready to receive the gods themselves. This is where the concept of being a concubine of the gods takes on its most literal and chilling meaning. You are to be a partner to the divine, a temporary vessel for a god's essence. This is a topic that historians still argue whether these interactions were purely symbolic or if there was a literal, physical aspect to them, a kind of ritualistic, divine union that was meant to make the sacrifice even more potent. It's a question that, in a world where belief is everything, may not have a simple answer. You spend a lot of time in the company of the other captives. You share stories, not of your fears or your hopes, but of your lives before this. The warrior tells you about his first battle, the other maiden about the flowers in her village, and the albino boy about the way the moonlight used to look on his skin. You are all from different parts of the empire, and your stories are a beautiful, tragic tapestry of a world you are about to leave forever. You are captives of your own destiny, but for now, you are also comrades, sharing the final moments of your lives in a beautiful, terrible, and completely surreal state of grace. The festival of Tlakaxapahualistli is reaching its crescendo. The rhythmic beat of the drums is now a constant, heart-pounding presence, and the air is thick with the sweet, intoxicating scent of copal incense and the sharp, coppery smell of blood. You are no longer living in a quiet sanctuary but are a part of the grand, terrifying pageant. You are a goddess, and you are being prepared for a feast for the gods. Your final days are a blur of sensory overload. You are given special foods, dishes that are meant to both nourish your body and prepare your soul for its journey. A mainstream historical fact about this period is the Aztec belief that food was a gift from the gods and a way of communicating with them. You are given tamales made with the finest maize, stews made from rich turkey and seasoned with chilies, and, most importantly, copious amounts of a special chocolate drink. This isn't the simple chocolate from your youth. This is a thick, frothy concoction mixed with hallucinogenic mushrooms and other sacred herbs. It's meant to open your mind, to loosen your grip on this reality and prepare you for the next one. The effect of the drink is a gradual, gentle unfolding of your senses. The world around you begins to shimmer and sway. The faces of the priests and priestesses, once stern and unsmiling, now seem to glow with a soft, ethereal light. The drum beats don't just echo in your ears, they pulse through your veins, a powerful, rhythmic connection to the earth itself. You are not scared anymore. You are not sad. You are simply there. You are a vessel, a conduit, and your consciousness is beginning to detach from your physical form. A quirky detail that you notice in this altered state is the way the light hits the obsidian blades. They don't look like tools of death anymore. They look like frozen water, like liquid darkness, like a part of the sky itself. They catch the light and fracture it into 1,000 tiny rainbows, a beautiful, terrifying prism of your impending doom. It's a surreal and beautiful sight, a moment of profound, quiet or in the middle of a citywide spectacle. This is where the psychological conditioning you've received your entire life comes into full effect. You are no longer just a person, you are a symbol. You are the embodiment of life, of fertility, of all that is good and pure in the world, and your death is a gift, a final act of love and devotion. The priests and priestesses tell you stories, not of your impending death, but of your future life. They tell you that you will join the gods, that you will walk among them, that you will be a star in the sky, a part of the cosmos forever. It's a very powerful and, in your altered state, a completely believable narrative. You are not dying, you are transforming. This brings up a debate among historians. Historians still argue whether the Aztecs' use of hallucinogenic drugs was a way of easing the pain and fear of the victim, or if it was a way of making the sacrifice more potent by ensuring the victim was in a state of divine communion at the moment of death. Was it a form of mercy, or a form of spiritual manipulation? The answer, like so much else in this story, is probably a bit of both. You are being given a beautiful, terrifying gift, the ability to face your own end not with fear, but with a sense of divine purpose. The other captives are also in this altered state, their eyes wide with wonder, their faces serene and calm. You are all on the same journey, all floating on the same river of consciousness toward the same inevitable waterfall. You share a look with the albino boy, a silent, knowing glance that says, "We're almost there." You're all a part of the same feast, the same glorious, terrible banquet. And you are the main course. The great procession begins. The drums beat a rhythm that is both mournful and triumphant, a steady march toward the summit of the Templo Mayor. You are not walking alone. You are carried on a litter, a beautiful, feathered chair of state, a living goddess being taken to her throne. The crowd below is a sea of faces, a thousand eyes watching you ascend. They are not jeering, they are not celebrating. Their faces are a mask of reverence and gratitude, a silent, powerful acknowledgement of the gift you are about to give. As you ascend the steep, stone steps of the pyramid, the world seems to fall away. The city below shrinks to a tapestry of color and shape, a beautiful but distant memory. The air at the top is thin and cool, a welcome relief from the heat and the smoke. You are at the very heart of the Aztec world, a place of immense power and profound spirituality. This is the stage for your final act, the place where you will transform from a mortal woman into a divine being. You are led to the sacrificial stone, a large, polished slab of volcanic rock, worn smooth by the countless lives that have ended upon it. The stone is a symbol of the earth, the great, hungry mother who will receive your blood and your soul. Around the stone stand the priests, their bodies painted black, their hair matted with blood from 1,000 previous sacrifices. Their faces are grim, their eyes are focused, their movements are precise and practiced. They are not butchers, they are surgeons of the divine, and you are their patient. This is where the various forms of sacrifice come into stark, chilling focus. While the most famous form is the heart extraction, a quick and brutal act, there were other, equally ritualistic methods. A mainstream historical fact you are aware of is the Aztec use of decapitation, drowning, and even ritual combat to appease the gods. You know that for a female sacrifice of your status, the heart extraction is the most likely outcome. It is a quick and relatively clean way of releasing the teolia, the soul in your heart, and sending it on its journey to the gods. But there is a part of you that wonders, a part that has heard the whispers of other, less quick deaths. A quirky tidbit you recall from your training is the specific type of obsidian blade used for sacrifice. It was not a simple blade, but a macuahuitl, a wooden club studded with sharp obsidian blades. These were the weapons of the warriors, but a smaller, more ceremonial version was sometimes used in the final moments of a sacrifice, not to kill, but to mark the body, to prepare it for its final transition. It's a small, intimate detail, but it speaks to the deep, almost artistic way the Aztecs viewed the act of sacrifice. It was not just a killing, it was a work of art. The hallucinogenic mushrooms and the frothy chocolate have done their work. You feel no fear. You feel no pain. You are floating above your body, a detached observer of your own final moments. You are a star, a flower, a piece of the cosmos, and you are watching your earthly form be prepared for its journey. You see the obsidian blade, a beautiful, terrible piece of craftsmanship, but you don't feel its sharpness. You see the priests, their hands steady, their eyes focused, but you don't feel their presence. You are not a victim. You are a participant. Historians still argue about the true nature of the victim's state of mind during sacrifice. Was the psychological conditioning and the use of drugs truly enough to erase all fear and pain? Or was it a last, desperate attempt to find meaning in a meaningless death? The answer, of course, is lost to time. But for you, in this moment, the answer is clear. You are not afraid. You are not sad. You are simply ready. You are a part of a beautiful, terrible tapestry, and you are about to become a single, perfect thread, woven forever into the fabric of the cosmos. The final moments are upon you. You are laid upon the sacrificial stone, your body still and calm. The world is a kaleidoscope of light and sound, but you are at the center, a point of profound, peaceful stillness. This is the ultimate honor, the ultimate expression of your purpose. The psychological preparation of a lifetime, the years of indoctrination, the hallucinogenic drugs, all of it has led to this moment. You feel no fear, only a profound sense of rightness, of destiny fulfilled. The priests, their movements a practiced dance, hold you in place. You are not struggling. You are a willing participant, a true hero in a terrifying play. A mainstream historical fact you've been taught from a young age is that the Aztec word for human sacrifice, Nextlahuali, translates to debt payment. You are not just dying, you are paying a debt that the entire cosmos owes. You are giving back the life force that was given to you, a gift from the gods that you are now returning to them. It's a very clean, very logical, and very powerful way of framing a gruesome reality. The belief system that underpins your death is so powerful that it has completely replaced your natural instincts of self-preservation. You have been taught that your death is not an end, but a beginning. You will not simply cease to exist, you will be reborn in a place of great beauty and wonder. You will join the gods in their glorious, eternal dance. Your soul, the Teolia in your heart, will be released and will soar to the heavens, a new star in the constellation. Your body, the vessel of your life, will be returned to the earth, to nourish the maize and the flowers, to continue the cycle of life and death. A quirky tidbit you recall is the Aztec belief in the sacredness of the heart. The heart, or Teolia, was not just an organ, it was a source of life, of emotion, of the very essence of a person. When a sacrifice was made, the priests believed that they were not just killing a person, but they were releasing this sacred essence, this life force, and offering it to the gods. Your heart, with its memories, its hopes, its fears, and its love, is the ultimate gift, a beautiful, terrible offering to the cosmos. Historians still argue whether the Aztecs' deep psychological preparation was a cruel and effective form of mind control or a true spiritual path that gave victims a sense of honor and purpose. Was it a way of forcing people to accept their fate, or was it a genuine belief system that made the sacrifice a glorious and willing act? The answer is likely somewhere in the middle. For you, in this moment, the truth is simple. You are a hero. You are a goddess. You are a part of a divine, beautiful, and terrifying tapestry. You are not a victim. You are the sacrifice. The world fades to a brilliant, unblinking light. This is not the sudden darkness of death you might expect, but a transition, a shimmering doorway between two realities. The teachings of the priests flood your consciousness, not as dry facts, but as living, breathing truth. This is your afterlife, and it is glorious. The Aztecs believed in several different afterlives, a mainstream historical fact that is often overlooked. Your destiny, as a sacrifice to the sun god Huitzilopochtli, is to join the Tenochtitlan, the House of the Sun. This is not a place of quiet rest, but a place of constant, ecstatic activity. Your soul, your Teolia, now a liberated and powerful entity, joins the souls of the brave warriors who died in battle. For the first 4 years, you will spend your days marching with the sun from east to west, beating your shields and singing war songs to keep it strong and vital. It's a job, yes, but it's a beautiful one, an eternal, joyful duty. After 4 years of this glorious service, you will be reborn as a hummingbird, a beautiful, iridescent creature, a quirky tidbit you find both charming and a little funny. Imagine all that pomp and circumstance, all the ritual and the pain, and you get to come back as a tiny, whirring bird. But the hummingbird is not just any bird. It is a symbol of the sun god himself, a fierce and tireless creature, a warrior of the sky. You will spend your eternity flitting from flower to flower, a small, beautiful, and eternal part of the world you left behind. It's a kind of beautiful, poetic justice, isn't it? To go from a human sacrifice to a living embodiment of the God you died for. The other afterlives were for the people who died in different ways. The warriors who died in battle, like you, went to the Tenochtitlan. The people who drowned or were struck by lightning went to Tlalocan, the paradise of the rain god Tlaloc. It was a place of eternal spring, of lush green fields and sweet-smelling flowers. The people who died of old age or sickness went to Mictlan, the land of the dead, a long, arduous journey through 9 underworlds, a final trial for the soul. Historians still argue whether the Aztec belief in these different afterlives was a way of reinforcing the social hierarchy or a genuine spiritual conviction. Was a warrior's death truly more glorious than a farmer's? For the Aztecs, the answer was a clear and resounding yes, and your own death is the ultimate proof of that. As a hummingbird, you will have a special connection to the living world. You will be able to visit your family, to watch them from a distance, to see the way your sacrifice has blessed them. You will see your father's carvings, your mother's weavings, and the next generation of children, all living and thriving because of your gift. It's a kind of immortality, a way of staying connected to the world you loved even as you transcend it. And as you flit from flower to flower, you will carry with you a silent, beautiful song, the song of a woman who was born to die, but who was reborn to live forever. Your journey is not over with your death, nor is it over with your ascension. The Aztecs had a profound and meticulous understanding of the sacredness of the human body, a mainstream historical fact that is both fascinating and deeply unsettling. Your body, the vessel of your life, is not simply discarded. It has a purpose, a final, important role to play in the grand cosmic drama. After your heart is offered to the gods, your body is carefully removed from the sacrificial stone. It is then taken to a special chamber at the base of the temple. Here, the priests perform a series of post-mortem rituals. Your skin is not flayed, as with the warrior captives, but your body is ritually cleaned and prepared. Your head is then removed. This is not an act of disrespect, but a final act of reverence, for your skull, with its strong, beautiful bone structure, is a prized object. It is a symbol of life, of a perfect offering, and it will be given a place of honor. A quirky tidbit you learn from the whispered legends of the priestesses is about the Tzompantli, the skull rack. This was a massive wooden structure, a series of poles upon which the skulls of sacrificed victims were displayed. The Tzompantli was not a grotesque trophy case, but a public monument to the power of the gods and the bravery of the people who sacrificed themselves. Your skull, they say, will be cleaned and polished, and it will take its place on the skull rack, a final, public testament to your honor. It's a strange kind of immortality, isn't it? To have your skull displayed for all to see, not as a reminder of your death, but as a symbol of your eternal life. Historians still argue about the precise meaning of the Tzompantli. Was it a form of public terror, a way of keeping the population in line? Or was it a genuine spiritual monument, a way of honoring the dead and reminding the living of their cosmic duties? The truth is probably a bit of both. The sight of 1,000 skulls, bleached by the sun, their empty eye sockets staring out at the city, would be a powerful and terrifying reminder of the cost of cosmic order. But for you, and for the Aztecs, it is a beautiful, terrible, and completely necessary part of the world. The rest of your body, after the ritualistic removal of the skull, is taken away. The fate of the rest of the sacrificial body parts is a complex and often misunderstood aspect of Aztec culture. While the head and heart were given to the gods, and some parts were given back to the family, other parts were sometimes ritually consumed. It's a fact that is often sanitized in modern accounts, but for the Aztecs, it was a profound act of communion. By consuming a small portion of the sacrificed flesh, the people believed that they were not just eating a person, but that they were absorbing a part of the God-given life force, the energy of the cosmos itself. It's a very visceral and, to our modern sensibilities, a very disturbing form of communion, but for the Aztecs, it was the ultimate act of faith. Life in the Aztec Empire, and particularly in the bustling capital city of Tenochtitlan, was a constant reminder of the cyclical nature of life, death, and renewal. It was, in many ways, a city of blood and flowers, a beautiful, terrible tapestry woven with the threads of war, ritual, and a profound, unshakable faith. You are no longer in this world, of course, but your memory is a part of its fabric. Your skull is on the Tsompant Li, your Teolia is in the sky, and your body is now part of the earth, feeding the very flowers that are used in the rituals of a new generation of sacrifices. It is a mainstream historical fact that the Aztecs saw no contradiction in this. The beauty of the flowers was a direct result of the blood that fed them. Life came from death, and death came from life. It was a beautiful and terrible balance, a profound and horrifying harmony. The presence of sacrifice was woven into the very fabric of daily life. You'll remember, from your youth, the sight of the priests, their hair matted with blood, their ears and tongues pierced with thorns in a constant act of self-sacrifice. You remember the sound of the drums, the smell of the copal incense, the sight of the feathered cloaks and the ceremonial blades. This wasn't just a part of the festival, it was a constant, humming undercurrent in the city. The Aztecs believed that every single thing in their world, from the sun in the sky to the maize in the fields, was a gift from the gods that had to be repaid. A quirky detail you may recall from your childhood is the way children were sometimes named after the day they were born, according to the 260-day calendar, the tonal Pohuali. Some of these day names, like 1 Death or 7 Serpent, were considered unlucky, and children born on these days were considered to be destined for a difficult life. But for the Aztecs, even a difficult life had a purpose, a role to play in the grand cosmic design. It was a life to be lived, a life to be given, a life to be returned to the gods when the time came. Historians still argue about the true nature of this constant presence of sacrifice. Was it a form of social control, a way of keeping the population in a state of constant fear and reverence? Or was it a genuine spiritual conviction, a profound and beautiful way of understanding the universe? The truth, as always, is probably a bit of both. For the Aztecs, the universe was a place of immense power and immense danger, and the only way to keep it from collapsing was to feed it, to give it blood and life, to pay the debt that was owed. It was a terrible price to pay, but for them, it was the only way. The story of the female sacrifice is, in many ways, the story of a woman's worth in Aztec society. While your destiny was unique and terrifying, it was also a reflection of the broader role of women in the empire, a role that was far more complex and powerful than it might seem from our modern perspective. You weren't just a victim, you were a woman, and that in itself was a position of great spiritual and social importance. A mainstream historical fact you were taught in your youth is that Aztec society was strictly gendered, but not necessarily unequal. Men and women had different spheres of influence, but both were considered essential for the functioning of the cosmos. A man's sphere was the public world, the battlefield, the marketplace, the temples. A woman's sphere was the home, the kitchen, the weaving loom, the sacred space of the family. These two spheres were seen as complementary and interdependent, two sides of the same coin. A society could not function without both. This is where the idea of a woman's body as a source of power comes into sharp focus. For the Aztecs, a woman's power was in her ability to create life, to bring forth the next generation of warriors, priests, and mothers. Your fertility, your strength, your very existence as a woman was a sacred gift from the gods. This is why you were chosen at the peak of your youth and fertility. You were the perfect representation of this creative, life-giving force. Your sacrifice wasn't just a brutal act, it was a profound spiritual transaction, a gift of pure life to the cosmos. A quirky tidbit you may recall is that while men fought with the macuahuitl and the spear, women had their own kind of symbolic weapon, the broom. It wasn't just for cleaning, It was a symbol of a woman's power to sweep away the spiritual impurities of the home, to keep the sacred space of the family clean and pure. A woman's work in the home was not seen as menial labor, but as a form of sacred, life-giving work, just as important as a man's work on the battlefield. It's a powerful and beautiful metaphor, isn't it? The woman as the protector of the home, the sweeper of spiritual impurities. Historians still argue about the true power of women in Aztec society. While women were not allowed to be warriors or priests, they were often highly respected as weavers, midwives, and healers. They held a special place in the spiritual life of the family and were seen as the keepers of ancient knowledge and traditions. Was this a form of patriarchal control, a way of keeping women out of the public sphere? Or was it a genuine spiritual division of labor, a way of giving women their own unique and powerful role in the cosmos? The answer, of course, is that it was probably a little bit of both. But for you, and for the women of your time, your role was clear. You were a source of life, and your death was the ultimate gift of that life. The sun beats down on the summit of the Templo Mayor, a brilliant, unrelenting light that seems to erase all shadows. This is it. The world has slowed to a crawl, and you are at the heart of its stillness. The drums have softened to a low, rhythmic hum, the crowds below are a silent sea of faces, and the priests, their black painted bodies shimmering in the heat, are moving with a slow, deliberate grace. This is the quiet end, the final, peaceful moment before the ritual concludes and your journey truly begins. You are not on a slab of cold, hard stone. You are floating on a river of light, a gentle current carrying you toward a brilliant, unblinking horizon. The obsidian blade, once a symbol of terror, is now just a flash of light, a star falling through a black sky. The priest, his hand steady and his face a mask of solemn reverence, is not a butcher, but a guide, a ferryman taking you across the final river. You feel no pain, only a gentle, profound warmth spreading through your chest. Your heart, the seat of your soul, your teolia, is not being torn from your body, but is being gently, lovingly released, a small, brilliant bird taking flight. The whispers of the priestesses, the words of the hymns, the stories of the gods, all of it has coalesced into a single, beautiful thought. You are a gift. You are a flower, a star, a warrior, and a mother. You are a part of a beautiful, terrible tapestry, and you are about to become a single, perfect thread, woven forever into the fabric of the cosmos. The debt is paid. The cycle is complete. The sun is fed. As the light begins to fade and the world around you dissolves into a soft, gentle whisper, a single, final thought comes to you. You are not dying. You are transforming. You are not a victim. You are the sacrifice. And your journey, your beautiful, terrifying, and completely sacred journey, has only just begun. Now, as the script comes to a close, let's take a moment to ease back into our own world. The images of the Aztec Empire, the drums, the feathers, the shimmering obsidian, they can all fade now. Just let them go, like a wisp of smoke on a soft breeze. The journey is over, but the quiet hum of the fan, the dim light of your room, and the soft comfort of your bed are all still here. The stories we tell are not just of the past, but of the present, a way for us to understand ourselves a little better, to feel a little more connected to the vast, strange tapestry of human history. So, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and just relax. The echoes of the past have faded, and all that's left is the gentle rhythm of your own breathing. Sleep now. Let the dreams be soft and sweet.